for the book. Nice. Okay, cool. Let's see. This document extracts everything, story, purpose, type. So let's focus on the prologue. 3 weeks with the empty refrigerator. The empty refrigerator, 32K in debt. Yep. 32. Uh, I was 38. Gonna be 30. No, so 39. So 39, 32K in debt, and 2 months behind on rent, working 80-hour weeks in a dying marketing agency. The fridge has been empty for weeks. Let's see. Yeah, it was a weekend night. I had to shut everything down. It was January, actually 2025 of January, that we shut everything down, and I literally had to pull a plan out of my ass, really. Like, I prayed to God and was like, hey, if you really want me to go back into AI again, like, and if you want me to serve the people, then send me the people you want me to serve because it's obviously not for marketing. So, yeah, and then I knew I couldn't do ads anymore. I had to really hunker down and just do content, but content was, I had to throw myself into the deep end, which was, for context, everyone, I'm just writing my book, voice to text notes. So, yeah, over the next 3 weeks, consumed a lot of just studying short form content, short form organic content on TikTok, just studying how do you crack that? Then found Sabrina Romanoff saying 3 pieces a day was content, and I realized I wasn't niched down, I wasn't putting out enough volume. I was jumping around different days talking about different tools. So, yeah, I abandoned the whole marketing agency, started AI on TikTok, raw and polished, and just started live streaming and just posting every day. So the app I'm using is Speech Notes, and Speech Notes is just a simple voice to text, basically. And so I'm using this to go through. I have another screen where I have all the notes about the book, and so I'm writing a book using Claude. Actually, Claude, write book with Claude AI. Probably that would be a little better. Nice. I think that works. Best moments ever. Nice. Welcome. I'm basically just going through the book writing process, going through voice to text notes. So I at that time I had 192 subscribers, and within a week it became 1,200 in 7 days because I hit a, something very organ. Oh, yeah, I hit a topic about DeepSeek that pretty much was super popular, so I hit a trend, and that unlocked super growth. So over the next 30 days and months, I committed to posting every single day, 3 times a day, going live every single day, and giving tons and tons of value, helping people, like serving, answering every and any AI question to help people gain clarity because it was overwhelming. So, yeah, bills were paid within 60 days. Um, I made more money in the first year than 2 years of a failed agency. Yep. Now I run AI Training Academy that serves You could say 150 entrepreneurs. We definitely want to fix that number, not 700. And then, yeah, my work is really only 4 hours a week instead of 80 hours. So the reduction in work has been almost a 10x thing, all because of AI. So now you know where I started from zero with no following, no background, no degree, no. I just started documenting my process and what I was learning with AI and then teaching and helping. So, yeah, that's the first story. I think that works out really good. It didn't end up becoming a seven figure success. I mean, year one, I made about, mm, say, about 80K. So 32K in debt to 80K year. And yeah, but I had to sacrifice. I had to give it all up. So the app I'm using is completely free. This is Speech Notes. This is just doing voice to text. What you guys don't see on the other screen is I have Claude with all of the projects, all of the writing, all of the entire book, basically. And right now, I had Claude go through and pull out all the stories in the book because I need to revamp the stories. So it's kind of like, hey, mass export the stories. Let me give you a new copy with them, and then he'll import them back into the book, like a software update. So it's like writing a book. There's no point in like typing it. So this is writing a book. This is doing it all through voice attacks. Do you prefer Claude over ChatGPT? Dear God, yes. ChatGPT is great, but you need ChatGPT with governance for him to be useful and not hallucinating. All right, back to the book. And for context, I had to move back in with my parents as well too, or parent, I should say. Yeah, you could add that in part of the story. Hmm. Now, let's focus on chapter one. Be kind to your future self. Client promises. Client asks about automate. Da da da. And da 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 da. So this story needs to be pulled out from chapter one, and it needs to be replaced when I got my first job as a Salesforce administrator in San Francisco, working for a very high-paced startup. I was responsible for all the change management for all the projects for anything Salesforce related to the whole departments. And I had no notebook, like digital notebook at the time. I was just keeping everything in notes. And the first project that I delivered, the clients kept asking about, or the client asked about some extra feature. And I couldn't figure out where that was. And so I know we left for there's so much that we talked about from like meetings, and it must have been a scope request that I forgot. And so I had to delay the project by another week um, to frantically put together that extra feature. So, and this happened all throughout that startup environment. I had to manage multiple projects, keep conversations and details about different stakeholders with different projects from different departments to onboard them into Salesforce. And I realized that I couldn't remember everything. There was too much information, especially when it came to actually building. These were full stack applications that I had to build, implement, test, and then also do the onboarding and training in uh, so that they're scalable. And then I started packing on more. And then you have administrative duties on top of that. And then so there's too much information for the human brain to. I kept burning out. I was too much overwhelmed. Projects I couldn't accurately predict when projects would finish. I could only, as a capacity, only do like maybe two projects without getting overwhelmed. So I had a limit on my performance because I didn't have the tools, and so I discovered Notion from Ali Abdal, who was a productivity YouTuber, and went all in on Notion. And Notion unlocked the second brain in my brain. I documented everything, every thought, document, note, book, SOP. I documented everything about my life in that app, and it gave me a superpower. It unlocked permanent, unfailable, infinite memory where I could remember anything complicated about work, Salesforce new certifications. My learning and memory almost got a 1,000 or a 10,000x increase just by learning how to use memory or how to use Notion. That unlocked. And then the main routine that I developed was be kind to your future self. Take the 5 seconds to write out all the details, the notes, the steps. I developed a very robust task management system, which I would love to share, because that allowed me to document a framework that can store any piece of information in a notepad or for your memory so that you could pick up that task whenever, anytime in the future. The way it works is the very first section, if we think of like Notion, like lines, the first line is the header, which is the goal. What is the goal that you're trying to accomplish in this task? Second to that is bullet points. These bullet points are facts. So this is website URLs with context why you need to go to this website URL. By the way, that eliminates the 48 tab problem that you have open, or people that have a bunch of tabs open. So if you have a bunch of tabs open, it's because you don't have a notepad or document or task management system where they should be properly logged. All those websites and tabs are related to tasks that have to get done either now or in the future, and they should be associated in this framework. So that's where the bullet points are. There's websites, there's facts, numbers, details that's related to, for you to accomplish this task. I like to think of it like like it stores everything. Yeah. So, and then like a McDonald's assembly worker. If you look at it, McDonald's, they're so successful because they could take any person, put them in a station, and that person could follow a very simple SOP to execute and create a perfect burger every single time consistently with minimal errors, let's say. So the same note is in the knowledge work. In knowledge work, for knowledge workers, when they document tasks, they should be documenting them using this framework where you have the goal, then you have bullet points or resources related to this website URL, task number ID, due date, ID number, ticket, whatever. And then below that, you have a checklist. And checklist has to go step one to step done. And step one to step done basically is where you document what's the first step that has to get done, and then every step roughly, if you want to get like overwhelmed, if your task manager is like overwhelming, it helps to make each step like no more than 15 minutes of like a step to do, because then you can't fail. So if you ever need to do this task now or in the future, it's only a 15-minute task. You could get momentum and pick this up. But documenting step one to step done allows you to stop this task, get interrupted, stop on the weekend, and then come back a week, day, month later and pick up exactly where you left off. So that you know exactly what has been done, what has to get done, and all the resources necessary for you as a knowledge worker to complete that task. So that framework with Notion really unlocked a superpower that I ended up growing to being senior Salesforce administrator, managing two administrator and developer underneath me, simultaneously working with six plus, it's actually seven departments, building three huge full stack applications inside of Salesforce, automating not only full-time employees roles but entire departments. Like my job as an automation consultant, like that was my trade, that was my bread and butter. I could walk into a department and completely automate their entire workflow. All the manual work that took hours or days to do became done in minutes and seconds from buttons that I would create from all sorts of little apps that I would create for departments to help streamline their workflow. It even got to a point where it's usually when people take vacation time off that I have to cover them that I get annoyed that I have to do their work. That drives the motivation to automate their work so I don't have to do their work now or in the future, or it becomes press a button. So that's a huge driver behind a lot of this manual work. Anything on a computer, manual work, should be automated. Like there's no need for a human to do any of it. So, so this Salesforce administrator, he was managing all the ticket log for all the support requests. So he took a vacation, and I had to cover his work. So what I ended up doing was going through all the logs and saying, 90% of the questions that are being asked is what's the status of my order? Like, and that process turns out takes about 45 minutes to do. It could have anywhere from 7 different variations or outputs, but it was a pretty logical tree as far as what how to process it and what the outcome could be. And so, since it was repeatable, it was laborious, and it was done on a computer, and it was something I had to do, it met all the requirements for me to spend as much time as possible to automate all of it. And so, I mapped out the whole logic tree, found every, and then when you code, you write everything in pseudocode. You write down the human instructions on a minute step. Um, so you break down a large project or workflow into minute steps. And then you look at those steps and you go, okay, what can be automated? What tools can we use to automate this? Thankfully, in Salesforce, it's a full stack application. So the data is in there, and I could build the UI. And the automation is pretty logic, doesn't even require anything. So I ended up building a chatbot that had completely eliminated this Salesforce administrator's full time job. Like we literally reallocated him to a whole different thing. We're paying him 6 figures a year, and in 2 days, I wrote some code or built some automation that completely eliminated his job. And this is all I did my entire career. Like all of it was looking at scenarios and departments. Usually they're using outdated technology. A lot of things are done manually, and the person who's doing them doesn't have any technical skills. Um, and so my whole career from the transportation agency to Salesforce was literally eliminating and automating people's jobs. And I say that proudly because those people's jobs shouldn't have been a job in the first place. They need to reallocate that person to actual higher level, more creative, more valuable work rather than mundane, laborious, copy paste, repetitive work that computers should do. So that's why I've always had another belief of continuous improvement. When you look into like process optimization, workflow management, um, biz ops, like you're always trying to improve the technology and streamline the workflows so that processes inside business happen faster, more efficient, with less human error. Um, and it's usually human error that's like the biggest bottleneck. So that's why the second I learned how to code, like, and not a code in any way of like a software developer, but like learning how to hack together some code, like put fear in my career that here I am hacking some code together and I replaced my full time job. And if I could do it, someone else could do it to me. So that's the fear of the chess move with when it comes to automation is you're one automation away from your whole job or one software update from your whole job being completely eliminated by someone who knows how to code, who knows more technical skills. And so that's why I've always had a continuous passion for, well, I have a tattoo that says learn to live, and it comes from learning every single day. Whatever I learn today benefits my life today, or what I learn today will benefit my life tomorrow. So the obsession over optimization, over just how you touch a computer so that you get more work done in a day than most do in a month, like becomes an insane competitive advantage. And it blows my mind that like they don't teach computer literacy anymore. Like that is not a skill set that, let alone when AI come out, it's like and automation. Like there's no school like training. It seems so backwards, whereas like that would be the biggest need since most people their whole job is making money from a laptop, from a computer. That is the future now. So be kind to your future self. The memory, all of that goes can be included in chapter one or any other chapter that you see there. So yeah, I would have lost that job and completely failed had I not had learned how to leverage new tools, new skills, digital notebook, Notion, that allowed me to basically gain a competitive advantage in the profession because I was able to output and perform better than my peers. So just because I was able to use the right technology in the right way. It's an insane competitive advantage of like learning technology and automation because like in business, time is money and speed, especially when we get into AI. Okay, sweet. For context, everyone, welcome. Good to see everyone. Just taking a break. I'm doing voice notes to take notes for the book that I'm writing. What's up, Carlos? I just see your comment right now. I have a class in about an hour and 10 minutes with my teacher to help finish writing my book for Amazon, and I'm procrastinating and sitting down and writing. Well, this is writing. This is I'm not writing, I'm not typing. This is the process of me writing a book with AI. So I have speech notes here, which is completely free for just doing voice dictation. I had Claude, which is on the side. Claude is writing the whole book, so he's on the side with notes, and so I'm just going through his notes, giving him more context for the book. So the more he has more context, the more writing, the more stories that I say, it's all going to be used as text or knowledge that then he'll just import, organize, and put in the book. So we're kind of doing like a software update of like one feature from the book is like pulling out the stories, updating them, and then pushing them back in. Writing a book is like a GitHub repo is like so weird, interesting. Okay, now let's go to story number three, grandfather's workshop. Let's see, as AJ watching my father in his workshop, sawdust, motor oil smell, measuring. He measures with the board, writes on a number on the wood, writes it again, and nobody can laugh. Why is it right twice? Because I'll forget. I always forget, but the wood. But instead of the wood remembers, well, yeah, I like that. The wood remembers. The notebook remembers. My brain is for figuring things out, Mijo, not for holding them. Some people are gonna catch on. That's not. That's yeah. Uh, oh, let's see. Sweet. Let me 1 second. If you go to this is for Carlos in actually you're in the community. Hold on. You are in the community. So AI. I'm gonna send you a direct message, Carlos, with the link to book a one-on-one with me. I do have. Well, the thing is, it just depends on how often you guys want to meet, because I have packages that are a lot better. Where let's see, Carlos. Wait, Carlos, are you under a different name in the community, Carlos? Maybe ZEP. I don't even see your first name. Let me see. Members. And Carlos. Carlos, are you not in the community? Oh, I thought you were in the community. Yeah, look for Chris, and Chris is in the community. There we go. I know you guys are in there somewhere because I've DM'd you something. Do 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 do. Ah, Chris. There we go. And sweet. And then let me put this link. Sweet. So tell Chris to look at his direct messages in Circle, and then I put my link to book another one-on-one, and that'll be the link so that you guys can just book anytime. If you guys, it's on the website too. For everyone else that's not, if you guys want to book a one-on-one with me, you're right. It's not on the website. I have to update the website as well too. Speaking of which, I didn't want to do it right now, but Oh, I'm writing the book. But I will update the website after tonight with the link to book a one-on-one with me. So that way it's much easier. Cool, 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 cool. Definitely. This is how I communicate as this is like office hours for everyone. It's just like I don't have like a storefront, so like I just live stream. So then doors are open, so then people it's easier than sending emails. It's like, oh, you want to get in touch with John? Oh yeah, he live streams at like after 5. Just just hop on, chat in the comments. Super responsive. That's funny. Okay, let me finish. Back to the book writing process. So let's see. Okay, so with story, yeah, that was the wisdom is that he wrote a lot of the stuff he did down, especially for measuring because he was a carpenter, he was an electrician. He had notes and books everywhere, and everything was written down, and that allowed him to basically a lot where this kind of like philosophy of be kind to your future self um, is make it easy for your future self to find this specific piece of information, or it's almost like assisting your future self to make it easy. Um, yeah, story 3 is okay. I'm okay with that. Let's go with story 4. Years of theory design, weeks programming, hundreds of cues, fades, system running for 200 key insight. The difference between life powered by willpower and a life powered by support structure. I don't know if that was the key insight. I think the key insight was really the leverage of using automation of and programming really. So that you're pre-programming the whole sequence of the show. Um, and then when it comes time to execute, you're just pressing a button. And then that whole process of building, debugging, testing so that every scene was reliable, every scene was repeatable. Um, so that the whole system or the whole speaking of which, I need to talk to chat. How do you guys explain systems? Like, let me just talk to chat for a second. How would you explain systems, especially with what I'm doing? Is the system the collection of the individual processes that collectively as a whole make the full routine? Like, or it's like a series of SOPs and tools that orchestratively, I'm using big words that don't need big words. Collectively, let's give me just a very short response to just kind of understand how I can use systems in it because I'm leveraging automation. We're building systems like, and I want to make sure we're building these philosophy, this vocabulary in the book so that they can go through and start becoming more, so that they can build systems, they can automate stuff in their business and life. By the way, quick plug, the content automation app is almost done. Like it should be done enough that if you guys because Carlos is here, if you guys do a new push from the GitHub repo for the content automation app, it has a whole new onboarding process. I know I still have to do a tutorial for it. Bear with me. I may do that tonight after this because I know I want to work on it tonight. I want to update the HeyGen avatar tonight. So I just have to procrastinate and write a book right now. So processes are repeatable tasks. SOPs are instructions for your process. Tools are what you use to execute. Automations are processes that run without you. And systems is the whole thing. Your tools, automations, processes, and SOP are together. So your client onboarding system might have 5 processes inside of it. Some are manual, some are automated, all document, all using specific tools. Nice. Somewhere where you want to add this in the book, I don't know where, but we want to like build out the skill sets for them to learn to automate anything in their life and buy back their time. Fundamentally is like the philosophy and principles that we want to like instill through this. And so we're want to teach them to build systems, and inside of a system we first have processes, some process to execute for some tasks. It's some repeatable tasks or series of tasks. And then you have tools. What tools are you going to use to execute on those processes? Some may be manual, some may be automated. Um, Automation is any of the processes that run without any human intervention. And then systems are the collection of the processes, the tools, and automation um, collectively working together. So the main important thing when we look at skill sets from here is that number one is the skill set of the automation tools. So that's like staying up to date with what popular automation tools there are, from Zapier, NAN, to custom coding your own using Claude Code. Um, and then and even you updating tools is one of the biggest things, because when I walk into a client, I'll usually update their tool, their tech stack. I have an approved list of tech stack that I swear to God, I'm really instilling this approved tech stack, because when clients don't go with my recommendations, hence Dr. AI, and I don't mean to like lean into this, but like if they go against my recommendations, they're going to spend more in time, money, and energy wasted using inferior or the wrong tools. So that's one of the biggest things is like I'm huge on is staying up to date on what are the right tools that are John approved, that allows me to execute faster. And there's you have to pay for some of them too. So a lot of businesses fail because they use cheap, free, or inferior or manual tools, and they're unable to stay competitive when people are building automations, systems, and especially when we leverage AI agents in it, things move a lot. The automation world moves a lot faster. Cool. So I think the theater lighting story should pose as basically the metaphor for automation, for systems, for processes, for tools that then we could transcend into later frameworks or later updates. Chapter 2, The Five Traps, Maria the Crying Coach. So let's see. Maria built a six-figure coaching. Clients love her. She was working. I definitely want to replace this story in its entirety in chapter 2. Of course, da, da, da. Oh, in that case, I want to replace the crying coach with the ADHD coach. This was my longest client. I'll protect his name so you can make up a name for him. Call him Mike. Mike was one of my first marketing agency clients and also coaching clients. And with Mike, he ran three different businesses. And when I asked him how many clients does he have, he couldn't answer how many clients he was managing in either of his three businesses. No CRM, outdated website, and business was drying up, relying on referrals and stuff. And so um, that's awesome, hot sauce. I told Claude to unlock the matrix code and it went crazy as if steroids. Then told me you got to, yep, if you unlock, actually in my, I don't have him updated right now, but in the content automation app, there's an Easter egg in the back settings that if you toggle, I'll show it tonight. It makes matrix characters pop up on the screen and then they battle. It's very stick figure, like very bare bones, but like as you vibe code with Claude, add Easter eggs, add confetti, add animations. It just makes it so much more fun. Okay, I'm finished. I'm going back to writing. So with Mike, he had 47 tabs open, one computer screen, um, no computer skills, just like was building running the business, and with ADHD, everything's all over the place. There's no structure, and his business never grew. It never was growing, and then he was losing clients, which was one of the biggest things when I met him. So I pitched to him. I said I could improve. I could get you more leads and sales guaranteed. And so he invested with me, one of my first marketing agency clients. I still work with them to this day. And I built out a Google ad campaign, a proper lead acquisition funnel, a Google ad campaign, a funnel, copywriting, irresistible offer, automation, CRM, email and text automation. And once we built and set up that whole system, that became his marketing and sales system that now actually to this day still brings in clients completely automatically. So he just spends X amount on Google Ads. People type specific keywords in. The search and percentage sees his ads, and he gets 1 to 2 new clients every single week. And for his business, that's perfectly consistent. So what we were able to do was buy back 24 hours every week, saving him time by teaching him how to use the Mac correctly, how to use search and automation tools, how to build systems, which having a CRM and email, all tied into the right tools. We were able to leverage automations to automatically respond to emails, to automatically book clients, to automatically get them to show up on his calendar. So the whole thing was completely automated, which bought back so much more time. He was able to work more with clients. So by the end of the year, we grew his business by 60% in revenue from where he was to after working with me. And all of it was just a lot of them had all the subscriptions. They just didn't know which ones to use in the right order. Um, And that's why, again, my approved tech stack kind of probably going to be a theme going on is like use my approved tech stack with clients because they'll work less, they'll earn more, they'll have a fully automated business. And for them, solving the marketing automation piece and sales piece really helps the business like get traction and float above water versus constantly struggling, constantly relying on referrals and months going up and down. So yeah, we within 60 days, we cut his work hour weeks to 40 hours. Yep. He ended up increasing revenue by 16%. Um, yep, within 90 days, he was able to take an extra day off. And so now his businesses stay cons- stay consistent. But a lot of it was it's the actually the trap more is actually using outdated tools. That's the bigger danger is not using the right tools in the right way is causing a lot of lack of performance of not being able to perform in the digital world or in business where everything is online on a computer. So they have to use the right tools in the right way to be able to perform. So it's actually businesses think they could grow and scale with the technology and skills that they have, but that's actually what's preventing them from having the right tools to then set them up for the right automations to set them up for the right systems. So that's what I basically want to do for that transformation story. For chapter two, we definitely want to update that one. Nice, nice, nice. What's up? You don't have a name. You have a little icon for a name. Claude is the wrong model for writing. It's preferred for code only. You're absolutely right. Oh my God, what am I doing using Claude for write? I should probably use ChatGPT and probably with some M dashes as well too. You're right. Claude, don't worry. Claude is not the best for writing. I agree. That's why I am using them. Next one, chapter six, framework origin during collapse. So during the 3 week collapse, you weren't designing a framework, you were surviving. You tried things because you were out of options. So let's see here, start this here. Um, so first things that work, getting things out of your head. Oh, so this is the framework when it comes to overwhelm. Like if you're Yeah, I guess this process could work. Where basically the first thing that we did was get everything out of our head. Capture was extract all tasks, obligations, and put them into either a knowledge file or a task manager. That's one of the biggest things in or capture is capture all notes and organize them in the proper either a digital notebook or task manager, and they are separate. They're not the same. And then second is leveraging things that worked, going deeper on a few tools instead of shallow. So when at that time I was doing digital marketing, I was doing automations, I was consulting, and it wasn't until I niched down and just did AI automation consulting, that's when things really I had leverage that I could actually start building traction. Richard's in the house. I should have when you said. I know when I'm talking about digital marketing, ads, and funnels. I just finished the story about talking with the client about ads, and it's like, my mobile notifications are like it's always that time. It's always. I just finished a whole about the marketing client, and I was like, wait, what? Why does he always come in? It's like because we're in sync. Great marketers are actually all synced up together. We're like, ooh, someone launched a new funnel. My spidey sense is tingling. That's funny. So yeah, for everyone, for context, I'm using Claude to basically write my book. So right now I have a Claude folder. Let's see if maybe, can you see this? Oh, that's interesting. Why? I know TikTok sees this, but maybe I have to refresh. Hold on. There we go. I don't know why I wasn't showing the latest page. So I do have a Claude conversation over here. So he has the whole, this project folder in Claude has everything. Claude. So this is why I'm using Claude, because one, he doesn't write like ChatGPT. He'll actually keep my writing style coherently. But the main thing you want to do is when you're writing your book, I highly recommend, this is the old one. This is the new one. Where do they have? Oh, look at all that. Look at all those knowledge files. 99% maxed out. You want to max out your knowledge file with your book, with your writing notes. I don't know why the B-roll is kind of freezing there. That's kind of weird. Let me see if we do this. Okay, there we go. That's weird. Huh. So this whole knowledge file knows everything. We're on version 7 of the book right now. So we've gone through like 7 versions. So right now I had Claude just kind of extract all the stories that are in the book so that I could go through and update some of the stories because I haven't updated them in a while. So that way it's kind of like a mass export and then mass import back in. So Claude is doing all of that. And he's doing all the heavy lifting. I'm just doing voice to text. Okay, now back to this framework. So that's the context. So what you guys are watching me do is use Claude to write a book because I have to turn in this book in 50 minutes. So you guys are watching me procrastinate. My teacher is not watching, so my teacher comes on. She'll come on. Sarah, she'll probably pop on. She'll be like, "What you doing?" I'm like, "Teacher, you weren't supposed to see me working." So, and then I'm using Speech Notes, which is completely free. It's just for voice dictation, simple, fast, free. I don't have to worry about it. It just works. Yeah, so chapter 6, yeah, step number 1, when they're overwhelmed or they need to like really like focus. One is capturing everything, notes, tasks, everything on from separate from where they are into one central place. TickTick and Notion are great for like Notion as a digital notebook, TickTick for task management. Then second thing is levers. You need to go deep on a few special tools. Like there's really only core 4 tools. Like again, I have a approved John tech stack that sprinkle that throughout the list too, that people could go and when they go to, I don't want to call it a lead magnet, but when they get the kit or something with that they could go get my updated John approved list of the J stack. Call it the John stack or J stack. These are my approved tools for businesses so that they can automate, streamline, stay efficient. Like these are the best ones. If they don't use them, then may God have mercy on their soul. Sorry, I had to laugh at that one. Okay, so Yeah, these are my approved tools, so the JStack. So yeah, then the leverage, they need to use the right tools and go deep with them. They have to be really good with them. Like a lot of people, they just briefly use ChatGPT or any of the tools. Like you need to go deep mastery on the tools so that you have the leverage to use them to get an exponential output and performance where tasks that take hours or days now take seconds or minutes, basically. Yes, then the next step is to eliminate what needs to be eliminated and isn't productive to the final output. Like just cut the waste. We need focus. That even applies for like, say for example, like businesses they want to be a la carte services and offer 14 different services and let the customers choose. Wrong. Should eliminate the options and present only one option for the customer to choose, and then that becomes direct response marketing testing that you could test statistically to see if that people are willing to buy before you ascend or offer other things. So elimination is very crucial, especially in business. Fourth one, automating. Now, how do you build systems that run without you? Again, choosing the right tools will allow you to unlock automation. If you don't have the right tools, you cannot automate. Well, it's basically tools and skills. That's very important. It has to be a combination of tools and skills because I could take the same person with, say, ChatGPT or NAN, and one person that's skilled with them will get a very drastically different output than someone who is just a light user. So that's why it comes down to depth of skill in said automation tool before so they can really execute and actually build. Because a lot of people talk about automation, but they can't execute or implement, which is one of the biggest things. Last one is review because what you build needs to be reviewed, optimized. There's going to be bugs, there's going to be workflows, things, there's going to be trade offs, there's going to be updates to new workflows or tools. So that's where review comes in so that you could assess, improve, and optimize and go for that once a week continuous improvement. So now going into the different stories for capture for chapter 7. Um, I really want to leverage the same story from like Silicon Valley because that one really showed. Mm, Actually, let's build on capture. So with capture, you have to document. This is one of the biggest things. So in Silicon Valley, when I was working out with the startups, we built some very complex workflows and very complex apps that had a ton of variables and automation nuances to each of the different like full stack applications that I was building inside Salesforce. So there's no way that I can like remember all the details of how I built everything, the trade-offs and stuff like that. So capture comes into the importance of taking time to document. Oh my God, is documentation such a hack and improve and such an overlooked thing? And it starts off very simple, like a simple SOP checklist in Notion is a great way to start. But where it really goes farther really helps because again, memory failure cost is real. Like our memory is not reliable, and so we cannot depend on our brain for anything. Like we're basically high performing individuals. Let's be honest. Like we can't depend on our memory during stressful environments or situations. So with this, surprisingly enough, recording videos of like 2 to 5 minute quick summary of brain dumps, not only to store some information like how you do some process or how you work an app in a certain way or how something was built or something, but especially for troubleshooting. Like, say you troubleshoot a very common problem over and over again, rather than wasting the cost and time of trying of solving it again, be kind to your future self. Capture a video, even when you unlock and you learn something new. This is really great. You just spent whatever an hour, 6 weeks learning something new. Finally, it's done. You understand the whole process, start to finish. Take the 5 minutes and record the screen and screen record and just capture that video recording to your future self about how this works, what's important, what's the process, what are the tools used, so that it becomes repeatable. And then when you want to revisit that process in a day, week, month, 6 months later, it's a 5 minute video that has everything necessary for you to quickly upskill. It's such a great memory hack. And so the important thing is having a reliable digital brain, hence Notion, to store everything important, documents, notes, files, videos, SOPs, allows you to scale. Yeah, because memory is not permanent. Memory is not reliable, unfortunately. Okay, next, let's go into chapter 5, leverage. So, with leverage, this is going deep on the tools. You have to have tool mastery. Just because you have some tools and have some description and you use them lightly doesn't make you an efficient user, because the difference, I know it's a silly example, between a beginner Excel user and an advanced Excel user. A beginner Excel user has no clue what formulas can do. The advanced user can build dashboards, pivot tables, lookups, automations, really powerful. He almost has God powers in the difference. And that's what I really want to preach, is tool mastery. Know all the features deep into the tools, know their limitations, their capabilities, because as a consultant, that's the most important skill set. Is when you recommend a tool, you're recommending that tool because you know you didn't just read the brochure or heard about the news about some new feature that they updated. You've actually built with it. You've tested it. You've used it, and you've pushed it to its limits and know exactly where it breaks and exactly where, more importantly, where it could be reliable. Because a lot of tools will promise everything. And so you need to find what are the 3 to 5 things that are the reliable feature for use for this tool that you could add it to your toolbox, because that's basically what you're doing. Is you're building a toolbox, no more than like 10 tools, that you're really becoming proficient with, that allows you to basically unlock so much superpowers as far as speed and stuff. So it isn't about having all the different tools. And we could go back to the original client, with Mike. Mike had 47 tools and hundreds of dollars in subscriptions, but none of the tools he was using was actually helping him. They were the wrong tools, and he was so overwhelmed he wasn't making any progress. Nothing was automated. Everything was still manual in his business. So that's where going deep, getting upskilled, because a lot of what the premise of the book is to sell, come get training by Dr. AI, or get certified by Dr. AI, or get your company and your team certified and trained by Dr. AI and the academy. That's what really the whole premise of the book is basically, coming in as an AI automation consultant and making the right recommendations on the right tools so that the company could buy back 24 plus hours a week, scale operations to 5, 10x, reduce operating expenses without having to hire additional employees. So, yeah. So yeah, just make it the same guy, Mike. And he had a bunch of different tools: surface level, 60 hours, mediocre results. It was all outdated. None of the tools he was using, and actually, it was the tools that were holding him back because of silly things like, oh, I have the annual plan, so I'll just cancel. It's like, no, it's hurting your business now. Cut the loss, pivot, and make the change and upgrade. Sometimes, I mean, doing a tech upgrade is one of the biggest things for a business, for an individual. Upskilling them in the right tools and skills, like, drastically changes their performance, almost like a 10x improvement easily. Next one, chapter 6. Marcus reports nobody read. Marcus is crying. Yeah, definitely want to rip this one out. So, hmm. Okay, let's do eliminate. But for this, yeah, I guess it should be a client transformation story. Let's see. Hmm. I wonder if we could spin this. It's kind of funny. I mentioned Marcus, and Marcus pops up. The words you use in a live stream actually influences the algorithm to bring you the people that you need. It's super weird. Bro, did just blink the yard? What? What's blink the yard? Okay, so we have to eliminate. I need a story where we've eliminated majority of the unnecessary. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's eliminate. Let's replace that story. Remember earlier I talked about the Salesforce administrator and we eliminated his entire job essentially? Let's bring that story into here. Where basically so I was Salesforce administrator, senior administrator for a startup, and I had admin underneath me that was just responsible for support tickets for issues. So he goes on vacation one day for like a week, and I had to cover all the support tickets. While I was going through them, I one again talk about the annoyance that I am just so lazy that I want to automate so much work and not have to do the work. Like computers should do the work, honestly. So I'm sitting there annoyed that I have to do his work, which is extra for me. That I'm like, wait, this is stupid. So I start seeing a pattern, and I noticed that 90% of the questions were related to one specific question. What's the status of the order? And again, that output could be seven different outputs, different variations, but it wouldn't vary, or there was no more of a variation more than like seven output outcomes, for example. Once I mapped out there was only seven different outputs, then I mapped out what was the logic tree for each route, which didn't take that much time. Just kind of what's the decision tree? Where do you check to find the information? Because it's scattered across somewhere in Salesforce. Now that the information lives in Salesforce, as a Salesforce administrator slash app builder, I could build a full stack application and basically get that data to do anything. So once I knew the data was in Salesforce, I knew that there was no variation in the output. It was repeatable, laborious, and it was 90% of the work that the admin was doing. Immediately, I green flag, and I'm like, let's spend the time and invest and build an MVP to see if this can be eliminated. So, this is actually leveraging automation to eliminate. That's the whole premise of eliminate. Leveraging automation to eliminate full workflows, processes, or jobs or tasks, departments, roles, and so forth. That's what eliminate really is. And so I built in 2 days a very simple MVP chatbot that any sales rep across the US can open up the phone app, type in a special ID number, and what used to take 1 to 2 days to reply. Just in the response, when they submitted the issue ticket, it took like 1 to 2 days for them to get a response on the status of the order. And then, second to that, it could take anywhere from 5 to 35 minutes to find the information, hunting around, looking for it, and so forth. Just a waste of time per query. And there were hundreds of these a day. Like, so there were a ton. It just wasn't humanly possible to go through a lot of them. So, this app, as soon as they inputted the ID number, it went through the proper logic tree and outputted the right answer in seconds. So what used to took 2 days and whatever 35 minutes to process to get an answer now took 5 seconds. Like, that was the insane. And then now we eliminated 90% of his work, and now I got an asset that I could put on back on my team to help with bigger projects that I need help with, rather than doing this mundane, repetitive work. So that's what Eliminate really is about, is having the skills and looking for the opportunities to eliminate so much work that now it becomes a button. So it becomes automated and happens without human intervention. That's what Eliminate is really the power of. And so in order for that to happen, you have to be skilled on the right automation tools. And there's many out there. It's not to say knowing one is not going to give you job security. It's just knowing how to use the right one for the right job. And your skill sets to execute. Your skill sets to execute comes from practice too. So just a quick little thing in there. You have to be practicing the skills because when it comes time to automate, that's not the time for learning. That's the time for executing. So next. Story number 10. Your own elimination during collapse. 3-week period wasn't strategic. It was a collapse. You're doing everything: paid ads, content on 6 platforms, networking events, saying yes to everything, maintaining dead-end relationships, 80-hour work weeks, businesses dying. So you had to cut. You had to stop. Stop paying ads. Felt like abandoning a skill I spent years building. Because there's a whole skill set with ads. It was like dropping 5 content platforms. Felt like limiting my reach. Saying no to networking felt like closing doors. Ending relationships with non-clients. Ads. I know. What? Why? You're just coming here and be like, funnel. Ads. Richard, your spidey senses are like super powered. Like, how? So, yeah, everything was drowning people. People don't carefully evaluate what possessions to release as they sink. They let go of everything that's pulling them down. So you have to let go of everything. So what remained was teaching AI to entrepreneurs through organic content. That was the one thing. Within 3 months, I went from struggle to consistent revenue. Within 6 months, we hit our first, actually within, I think it was 4 months. I think it was within 4 months we made our first 10K. Like, I think it was like February or March, because we started in January. At the end of January, I have to look at that. I have to comment about the algorithm. The algorithm is always, it's true, because like the words you use in your live stream, if I start talking about like real estate and real estate agents and stuff like that, real estate agents will start popping in the feed. It's that, like, plus your spidey sense is always tingling too. So anyways. So now, yeah, I think story number 10 is okay. Uh, just make that change though. Yeah, it wasn't a 6-figure month. And nor was it consistent too. So it dropped down. Okay, so now chapter 7, eliminate. Or chapter 7, automate. So this chapter is about lead process automation, old process, the cost, after automation, what stays. This is talking about automation ROI, concrete time savings. Okay. Huh. I'm looking at this story. I'm trying to figure out should I keep it, but what's the purpose of it? What's this? Automate. Okay, you just want a story for automation. Okay, let me give you a better automation one. Okay, I got one. I got a good one. Okay, I got a better one. So we need something on it, something that would take. Let's use this one. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah came. This is going to be a replacement story for chapter 7. Sarah came to me crying because she had a backlog of purchase orders and invoices that she hasn't processed because of the time it takes to process every invoice and purchase order. Um, Everything's done manually, and she just does not have enough time to automate this whole process. Or so that's why she joined the community, and I looked at how AI can help streamline this process. So she would get emails every day with purchase orders. I don't know. I think it's purchase order to invoice. Yeah. She would get purchase orders from her sales reps. Um, and she would get them by email. She would have to manually transcribe them first off because they were handwritten. So she had to transcribe them into like an Excel sheet. Then she had to do math. She had to look up each item on a table to identify what the sales tax and and extra pricing should be. Then she had to calculate the new summary and then put this in a new purchase order with her formatting. And this whole process took an hour per invoice. And she had a bunch of them backlogged she just doesn't have time to do. And everything's manual. So actually, the whole process takes like 2 hours for her to do, technically. And so we first built the whole process in ChatGPT and worked through ChatGPT with prompts to take the input as the invoice and output a properly formatted and calculated purchase order. And it took about an hour to prompt because prompting is no different than programming. You're just listing out the step by steps that you want the automation to do. And so explicitly, and plus ChatGPT has like OCR, it could do like tables and calculation and math calculations behind the hood. So it has the infrastructure to do a lot of the automation. You just have to prompt it correctly. And so in about 2 hours, we created 2-page document prompt, put that into a custom GPT, and now she has a tool that she inputs a purchase order and then it outputs, or she inputs an invoice and it outputs a purchase, or they input a purchase order and outputs a invoice. Um, then we built a Notion database that tracks everything with a form that her team can upload the files directly to, which then can trigger now an automation to get done. So now the whole process handles completely automatically. And so what took her, she had to fill out like, I don't know, 3 a day, which doesn't seem like a lot, but if 3 a day is 6 hours, and she has a full time job to do other stuff too, she doesn't have time, even during the days and weekends, to get this done. So this saved her, and you could do the calculation if she's doing three a day, work days, how many a year. You could do the calculation for the time cost savings as well there for that. Okay, next one, chapter 8. Words, let's see. The audit dove into automation system, found into a graveyard. So this is review because they haven't updated their processes. I could do it. Yeah, I have a different story for this one. So the automations were working, but personal failure story. Systems decay without maintenance. So hold on, I'm thinking. We need a story for reviewing and why that's important. Because if you don't review your automations, things break. I'm thinking. I think more. Okay, I'm thinking of. Where did I had to fix some automations? I had to fix someone's automations. Let's see. Oh. trying to think of the right. Okay, let's do Mike again. Mike, same guy, 4 businesses, completely automated his business early on. With Mike, he left the systems running, but he never checked them. And so I mean, from the CRM automations, from the Google ads, he never managed them. And the main thing with automations is that everything needs maintenance and systems decay without maintenance. And so his ads, he was spending money and he was wasting money on keywords that were not performing. Um, the website, he let someone else come in and touch the website that was not a digital marketer and screwed up the whole website. And so now the marketing messaging wasn't converting, so of course it wasn't getting leads. And then yeah, none of the automations worked after. He just never maintained it. And so with that, of course, the biggest indicator was revenue was dropping. And so I had to come in and redo the Google ads, redo the funnel, redo the redo the copywriting, redo the automations. And it's just to say review your automations, review your systems regularly for updates, for improvements, for eliminations of waste. Because this is where you can look back, especially with now with AI, and you can look at this and say like, oh, we can review and improve this now. There's better apps, there's better automations that now we could use that could give us such a better improvement or upgrade. So I want that as the replacement for story number 8. And then story number 9, agents are the future. Ooh, shoot. Actually, we used the same story for chapter 9, as I was talking about for. mm, Actually, no, I want to replace this one because agents are different. As the AI powered invoice generator, use all the details from story number chapter 9 for what I said was the replacement for story, wherever I said the story of about the invoice and purchase orders, wherever I said that. You could combine those and enhance and use that story. Now, I want to replace chapter 9 with agentic workflows as like the most important thing. And then that could be the content automation there. And this is in the community one of the biggest demands that needs where people were content automation. It's a full-time job. And so we've tackled this in different ways, but with the emergence of Claude Code being so good, I was able to vibe code a complete content automation app. Now I built it originally in NAN, and I got second place in my own my own contest because I did a contest on it to see like how many people in the community can automate and solve this problem with like $1,500 in cash prizes, and I came in second place because I was the best with NAN, but was not skilled in vibe coding. And so the gentleman who was vibe coded built a very beautiful application that really won. And that was a real big indication of like, oh, I got to look more into this vibe coding thing. And so chapter 9 is like agentic workflows, where we took that whole workflow of building content, what it takes to clone yourself with clone your voice, clone your avatar, clone your brain, clone your writing style, and completely build what I wanted was complete content automation, where the user just presses a button, content gets generated, avatar gets created, a B-roll gets created, it gets edited all together. It looks like you, sounds like you, um, and it costs less than a cup of coffee to make. So that whole thing was vibe coded using Claude Code, where now I give away to members in the community access to the software that pumps out content automation, where they just pop an idea. It works for any business. It writes scripts in their brand voice. It has an avatar. It could be them or a fictitious character. And it takes about 10 minutes to generate a piece of content. And then it costs about roughly $1.30 on the lowest end to pump out a 40-second talking head avatar video. So a lot of it was really the time it takes to really build out literally a entire content automation. Like we're literally eliminating a marketing department basically, because this thing will generate content, custom captions, and then even schedule 4 or more times a day, or schedules to publish 4 times a day across 6 social media platforms like clockwork. And it will outperform any human in their content generation. So it's interesting to see. That's what I really want for like chapter 9, is like really getting into these agentic workflows of really bringing in LLMs and prompts and AI agents to the next level of agentic workflows that are vibe coded using software development large language models like Claude, for example. Then chapter 10, let's see. I see the contrast. Okay. Let's just update chapter 10. Um, Change it to Monday afternoon on 2 p.m. And then watching a hummingbird circle overhead, doing absolutely nothing as the business is running. And 3 years earlier, couldn't take a bathroom break, couldn't eat dinner without mentally checking out, was working late nights, didn't make enough money, was struggling, couldn't fall asleep with all the anxiety. And now, watching that hummingbird at 2 p.m. on a Monday, nothing's on fire. Nothing needs my attention. I can relax and be present. So that shift didn't come because I was more disciplined or found better tactics. It's because I stopped trying to hold everything and started building systems that could hold things for me. Yeah, you can work that one out on chapter 10. Mm. I'm looking at chapter 15 to figure what do we need. Yeah, it's just showing up. Just showing up and serving. That's what it's really about. Started posting Yeah, keep the whole chapter 15. I'm happy with chapter 15. Chapter 16. Jesus. Okay, last three. Chapter 16. Solid notification cry, no sad tears. Yeah, put the price on one side joke, then our person there, 30 members about the ad, not from paid. Yeah. Emotional payoff, not as. Yep. Okay, yes. Chapter 16, I'm happy with. Keep it. Chapter 7, or story 17. Yeah, keep story 17. Story 18. Keep that. Oh, it's missing. Let me go through some quick testimony and case studies. There's the corporate proof if you want to go into that. I don't know if you're keeping any of the stories of the robot or the automations at the 95. Definitely want to keep those. The student transformations, right now, we've done 700 over the last 2 years, but it's really the 155 entrepreneurs in the community. Um, those are the real lives transferred. I mean, those I have a ton. I have students that have. So, one student, she was in Brazil. You could come up with her name, and she came in, and a lot of students make their first sale inside the community. We help set them up with their tech stack, show them how to market and live stream, and then sure, it takes 60 days or more, but students get their first sale within 60 days inside the community if they follow the same content marketing journey I follow, where I'm posting 3 times a day, going live once a day, serving your audience. Um, on the other side, we have entrepreneurs that have um, launched their first business, made their first sale, like Sarah in the community. She launched her own how to write, how to get your book published on Amazon, or how to write your book using AI and get published on Amazon. She launched her course and program in the community. Um, there's another, we'll call him Dr. Uh, we have quite a few doctors actually doctorates, I should say, in the community. We attract a lot of higher education individuals as well too, because of the advantage that AI plays into helping individuals accelerate their learning as well. It gives them people that get degrees, certifications, doctorates. AI is such a hack for them to accelerate their learning, become a personal tutor. Like, is such a hack. One of the biggest clients is helping them go from idea to working prototype in just a few hours using like vibe coding tools. I call him Dr. T, but come up with another name. He's one of my star students. So I have 2 star students that have gone through my AI certification program. One, I'll just say Dr. T, but he came in very basic AI skills, and within just 2 weeks, he's already vibe coded his full first app, where that whole session only took 90 minutes to have him go from idea to go through the process to finally not only have a working prototype, but also have AI integrated with it and then also deployed on the web on a mobile server so that he can access it anywhere in the world. That whole process took 90 minutes, and he had no skill sets of vibe coding or software development when we did that project. So he would have had to, like, I mean, again, software developer coming up with an app costs thousands of dollars and needs specialty, but now with AI, you could go from idea to final product as soon as possible. And then Raymond is another one. We want to come up with another name for Raymond. He's in my certification program. Best student. My God, this guy, proficient with computers and technology, basic ChatGPT using. Now he's built and launched 3 businesses within 90 days. He's already launched digital products. He's working on cloning and digital avatars. He's almost close to finishing automating his entire content for each of his brands. He's developed novel, innovative products in the space and domains of AI governance. And to see him proficiently move on a computer, he's able to get more work done in a day than most do in months, because he's able to use these agentic tools to help him create and multiply his expertise and skill sets. So he's now gone through 3 months of my training program, and he'll be ready to start consulting really soon. He's already made money within his first month as an AI consultant. So again, making their first sale in 30 days is a common trend. But the other thing is like the time saving. Like with Dr. T alone, we've already saved 24 hours every single week within our first week of training, just by, again, teaching them the right tools, the right processes, so that he can leverage the right automations and systems so that he could buy back his time. Those are my 2-star students. Yeah. Okay, so basically what we did, sorry if I didn't talk to you guys directly, I truly apologize for that. I just want to show my process behind the scenes of what it's like to vibe write a book. It's not vibe coding, it's vibe writing a book. I know, weird, but yeah. So I have Claude. Basically, I asked Claude for a bunch of stories. They're all right here. I just voiced notes for like whatever, 2 hours. I'm going to give this to Claude in a Google Doc and then have Claude rewrite the whole book with these notes. And that's going to be version 7. So where we have version 6 with these notes and other notes, pump it in, and he's going to write version 7. Just say, boom, kick it in. He's going to kick out 1 chapter at a time. And then we got version 7. So that's how I'm writing a book using Claude. I'll be back probably later tonight. We'll see. We'll be definitely vibe coding the content automation app. So definitely look out for that. So cool beans, everyone. Good to see each and every one of you. If you guys want to learn how to use AI in your business and your life, basically, if you want to learn how to automate your business, you want to buy back time, join the community, book a one-on-one with me, and I promise I can save you 24 hours every single week. Buy you back time. I'll catch you guys later. See you in the next live stream. Bye.